Hey, listen, boring decisions will absolutely kill your business. I'm going to tell you why right now on this episode of the Unlock Success Podcast.
This is the Unlock Success Podcast. We're helping entrepreneurs around the world dive deep into the keys you need to shatter excuses, believe in yourself, and help you achieve your highest goals. Here's your host, 8-figure entrepreneur and the living legend of internet marketing, Anthony Morrison.
Hey everybody, Anthony Morrison here, and welcome to another episode of the Unlock Success Podcast. I hope you are listening to this podcast and find yourself having a great day and a great week. My goal, with this channel and with this podcast is to provide the motivation and the mindset that you need to succeed in your business. I try to use illustrations from my own personal life and business, as well as things that I'm learning today to bring to you. And today's topic is why boring decisions will kill your business. Now, here's the deal. Most people think that the way to become a successful entrepreneur is to pick an idea and then get really excited about it later. And I'll tell you that basically any business model works if you just put the time in, right? People will tell you this all the time. Just put the time in, it'll work. Right? They'll even say, look, even if you don't like it, it's good for you, like working out or eating healthy. So in the long run, you'll learn to love it. And honestly, I think that's some pretty crappy advice, right? Unless you can truly say yes to something, unless you're willing to go all in and commit yourself 100%, then I would pass on that opportunity, no matter what it is. Now look, this isn't easy to say, and it's not to say that there won't be things in your business that feel boring or tedious, right? Like that happens. I'm not talking about those daily decisions you have to make in your business, like writing an email or recording a video or taking a sales call. What I'm talking about here is the initial decision to jump in on an opportunity. The decision to buy a real estate property, or the decision to launch an apparel brand, or even the decision to start affiliate marketing like I teach on my YouTube channel, right? If this plan does not excite you from the beginning, it doesn't make you want to just jump out of your seat and get to work, then it's probably not worth pursuing. Now you'll probably ask why. Because if you can barely muster up the excitement for it when you're just getting started, I guarantee you'll never be able to find the endurance to stick with it when things get tough. Look, this is the same when it comes to relationships, right? If you went to a wedding where the couple just wasn't just so in love with each other, like what would you think about that? What if their vows went something like this? This seems like a practical decision. You definitely have your flaws, and I'm going to do my best to work through them with you. What would you say? You'd probably say something like, wow, this isn't going to work out well, right? If they barely like each other on their wedding day, I highly doubt they're going to stick it out when everything isn't so perfect, right? So think the same way about your business decisions. If it seems boring, and by that I mean if it's not something you're totally into, something you can really give it all you've got, then it's okay to pass on it. There'll be other opportunities, other propositions I guarantee that you'll be more excited about. Seriously, this is me giving you permission to say no to more things in your business, right? And believe me, if you're on social media, you'll need a strong will to say no. Every other second, you're bombarded with ads about this opportunity or that one. Start a Facebook agency. No, wait, start a chatbot agency. Hold tight. You need to do drop shipping. Actually, forget all of that. You need an Amazon store. Look, I'm not knocking all these ideas, except for maybe the Amazon store, but I'll get to that in another video on my YouTube channel. What I'm saying is I've never met someone who's absolutely crushed the game on one of these ideas without going all in on it. Like, I've never heard an entrepreneur tell me, yeah, I just started drop shipping on the side. I didn't really pay any attention to it, and then I became a millionaire. That just doesn't happen in real life, right? The people who succeed in the industry are the ones who fall in love with the industry. They don't make boring decisions. They make decisions that excite them and push them when the going gets tough, right? That's how things happen. I'll never forget when I started my first business online. It was selling car parts, and I loved that industry. I loved it. When I first started selling car parts, the only type of parts that I sold were parts for the car that I drove. It was a 1996 Ford Mustang GT. And so I sold car parts for like 1996 to 1998 Ford Mustangs. So like just a few years of cars, right? And that is all I sold. I sold what I loved. I sold what I loved those cars. I loved modifying them. I loved the parts. I loved everything about it. And so that was my business model. I sold car parts for the type of car that I drove, and I crushed the game. I loved it. But here's the thing. Eventually, I fell out of love with it, right? I wasn't so happy with it anymore. My hobby, what I loved, turned into a business. And that's when, you got to really, really, really love what you're doing. Well, see, over time, as I was young when this started, right? I was in my early 20s. All of a sudden, I didn't want a Mustang anymore. I was driving a different car. I bought a Dodge Viper. So Mustangs weren't really my thing anymore. But my whole business was tied to that thing that I wasn't so in love with anymore. And let me tell you, I wasn't a happy person. Like some of the gray hair that I have, if you happen to be watching this online, you can probably see it. I got those gray hairs from that business, right? And I wasn't happy, right? And one day I found affiliate marketing, and the craziest thing happened. I went in to my online store, a store that was doing at the time close to $2.5–3 million a year, and I just turned it off. I clicked the off button. I walked away from it. I said, hey, this isn't a business opportunity that I need to pursue anymore. I don't love this, right? This is a boring thing for me now. Keeping this business running would be a boring decision. So I turned it off. My mom thought I was crazy. My dad thought I was crazy. Everyone thought I was crazy because I had worked so hard to build this business up. And then I was bored with it. I said, it's not for me. All right. Now, you could look at that and say, okay, Anthony, you threw away a $3 million a year business. I did. But after I did that, I went on to do about $400 to $500 million, give or take, in sales. The trade-off wasn't so bad. You see, I learned a good lesson, and that is that I had to do something that I truly loved, something I wasn't bored with, something that, I wouldn't change, something about me that wouldn't change over time. Like a car is a hobby, right? It's not part of who I am. And so I changed my like of cars, and so then that changed my, happiness level for my business and so on and so forth. So I took something and I said, what is it that I love to do? What do I enjoy doing? And I just loved the internet. I loved being on the computer. I loved trying to, match traffic with offers and things. Like I just loved that. It was something I was thrilled by it. And I started that. I said, I'll just do something different. So I started affiliate marketing. When I started affiliate marketing, within a few months, I had that up to $200,000 or $300,000 a month. So I'd replaced that other business, although with far less work involved. And then that was a springboard to writing a book, having a live event series, having an infomercial that ran across the entire country and sometimes in other countries, right? Selling over 1 million copies of my book, having, 30 plus courses that we've released online, educating people all around the world, over 2.5 million people around the world. All of that came from making a decision to not continue doing something I was bored with. So sometimes we walk away from things that might be profitable, but they're not the best decisions for us, right? So my best advice for you is to not go into something looking for what is going to make me the most money, irrespective of whether or not I'm happy, right? But to look at business as a part of who you are, because that's what it's going to become. It's going to become a part of who you are, right? And make sure that when you make that decision to go all in on it, it's something that you can live with. It's something that you love. It's something that you're really happy with. Another thing my parents told me, I used to have a really bad habit with this, and that was with staying with the wrong girl, right? I mean, we've all probably experienced this. And it was funny because my dad said to me, he said, son, when you notice red flags, like when you notice things that aren't right, things that don't work for you, things you don't like, walk away. Don't stay for 2 years to find more, because those things aren't going to go away, right? And I just had the hardest time figuring this out. I learned in relationships the hard way. I would stay with someone until the bitter end, right? But ultimately, the thing that would end our relationship was the very same thing that I talked to my dad about maybe a year earlier, right? 8 months earlier, 2 years earlier, right? Because they don't change, right? And it's the same way with businesses. Like if you're not happy with, doing e-commerce and packaging and shipping and stuff, you're not going to be happy with it 9 months later, even if you're making money from it. You're still not going to be happy, right? And ultimately, that's going to hold you back from reaching the highest level of success that you can possibly have. And this happens in your relationships. It happens in your health and wellness and fitness. It happens in your business. It happens across the board, right? So my advice to you is don't make boring decisions. Do things that you love. Do things that you're passionate about. Do things that you will enjoy, and you will have more success. I hope you've learned something from this episode. I hope this gives you something that you can take away. I hope it gives you permission to walk away from something or some decisions or some opportunities that maybe have been stressing you, right? It gives you permission to walk away from them and find something that's truly a good fit, something that you're going to love and something that you're going to be able to weather the storm with. My name is Anthony Morrison. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Unlock Success Podcast. We'll see you next week on the next episode.